What's up, True Crime World? You're here with Luminol on the Wall. I'm Bevy.
And I'm Becky. And today's case is about a young woman who goes missing after finding out she's pregnant with her ex's child. This is the case of Jayden Parkinson. Listeners' discretion is advised.
Well, hello to all of our LOTW friends and family.
Hello.
And hey, Becky.
And hey to you, Bev.
Oh, nice. So, some interesting thing happened within the last 2 days, and it's ongoing.
It's ongoing, so don't expect full answers, but it has been very nail-biting.
Nail-biting?
Yes.
We have found evidence of a crime after witnessing the blockage of 2 main roads in Airdrie.
Just two markets.
Oh, whatever. 2 markets that are closed and 1 main road that has also been closed. Cops everywhere. Scattered throughout the area. Cars can't go by.
They can't get through.
Right. So everyone is looking up on the interweb what happened in the Airdrie marketplaces this afternoon, with no answers to be found.
None. This was yesterday, by the way.
Yes. So today, Becky's fiance does some super sleuthing.
Yes, he does.
He goes to the once closed market centers to see if he can find any evidence sprinkled throughout the area. And what does he find?
Bullet casings.
Bullet casings. 22 caliber bullet casings.
That's our guess anyways.
Yeah, because they were fucking small.
Yeah, not a clue actually.
But they were small.
They were small.
They're all flattened. So who knows? Who knows what happened to them? If they come out that way or if they got driven over.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He's so cute. He sent me a photo of said casings.
Yes,
he picked up a handful.
Yeah.
Said, look what evidence I got, Becky.
Due to my super sleuthing abilities.
Yes.
All for you, baby.
And then he brought him
you
home.
Love crime.
That's right. He brought him home. I have no idea what I shall do with them. Probably garbage.
Probably the garbage.
Maybe return them to the crime scene. I don't know.
In his super sleuthing, he just takes like critical evidence.
Mine. Very cool. I need to show Becky. To be clear, he said the place is, like, the market is almost like not blocked off anymore, just a little bit.
Yeah.
But he said there's shell casings everywhere.
Which is wild.
Yeah,
it's like,
like,
what happened?
And I live close.
Yeah, like 3K away.
I didn't hear shit.
No, you didn't. So it's like, was there like a shoot-off that happened?
Yeah.
And if there was, how the hell didn't you hear anything?
Yeah, seriously.
But yeah, what happened?
What happened?
And why didn't they collect those as evidence?
Maybe they didn't need that.
Maybe it has literally nothing to do with why the markets were closed.
Could you imagine it was actually like some weird fire or like explosive and Jamie's like, oh, shit, there's casings. Someone just dropped them.
But either way, it tells an interesting story, and we are left to our own devices of trying to put together the puzzle pieces and figure out why this road was closed in Airdrie.
Seriously.
But
now, what my bigger question is, Bev, is how come there is not live news coverage?
Yeah, that's what I want to know.
For this incident. It seemed very serious, considering it blocked off a quarter of Airdrie.
Yeah, 1 road's a quarter of Airdrie, but yes.
It matters. It makes it hard to travel, okay?
Yeah.
Anyways, how come we, like, got live updates, like, Johnny Depp, Amber Heard, and I can't hear about a shootout 10 minutes away, 5 minutes away from my house?
Assuming that
there
it was
a
in fact a shootout.
Even if it was something else.
Like, what the fuck? We want to know what's going on. To be blocked off that
much, something serious went down.
True.
And they're just going to leave me on a cliff? Like, what if there's a...
Leaving you on red. But not even, because there's nothing to read.
Yeah.
But
on those little dots, like, I'm typing, but I'm not going to send it.
That's what it is.
Yes, like, I think that's freaking rude. Because what if there is a suspect running around Airdrie and he's hiding in my backyard
True.
Guaranteed I would see him because I literally have nothing to hide behind. So it wouldn't be a huge mystery. But what if
What if?
I could have assisted? But I didn't know to look in my backyard because there was no news update.
Well, to be fair, if there was a suspect on the loose, I'm pretty sure everyone would know about it. But
I'm sure.
Either way, guys, we're going to leave you on the ... as well because TBD.
We have nothing else to give you.
So with all of that
being said, I have some words for you, Bev.
Words for me.
Just words. Not even sentences.
Words.
Just words.
All right, let's hear them.
Kind, caring, funny, giving, popular, class clown, cheeky character, contagious personality. These are all words that are used to describe today's victim, Jayden Parkinson. Now, Jayden grew up in Folkestone in the UK. When she was 7 years old, her parents permanently split up. I say permanently because it was on and off, and it was just a roller coaster ride for the family. In a surprising turn, Jayden's father got custody of her and her 2 siblings. She was the youngest of 3. I'm not really sure either why he got custody over her mom, but that's just how things went down. There was nothing wrong with her mom. She didn't have any drug problems or anything like that. It's just how it unfolded. After Jayden's parents split, her father and siblings moved to Oxfordshire. And Jayden found that move really hard because she was so close to her mom, and she missed her a lot. Even though they got to see each other, she was still saddened by the thought of not seeing her mom every day.
That's fair.
As Jayden became a young teen, she became more rebellious in school and with her parents. While living with her dad, Jayden and her siblings had a really relaxed way of living. They didn't have many rules to follow. And eventually, Jayden decided that she wanted to go live with her mom, Sam. So she did. Their relationship eventually became a little bit strained because Sam had a different set of rules for her daughter, and she was a bit more strict than her ex-husband. So Jayden went from going to almost no rules to having more rules, and she found that really challenging. I can only imagine, as a teen, Bev, imagine our lives. We had a pretty, I'd say, laid-back upbringing, yeah?
Yeah, definitely.
We had some basic rules to follow, like be a decent fucking human.
Yeah, that's true. Be happy.
And, don't steal pop.
Don't come home too late.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basic stuff.
Totally.
Imagine having all of a sudden, strict parents.
Oh, no.
Bev was a little bit more rebellious than I.
So I would definitely
have pulled a
identify with Jayden, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now, on top of giving her parents a bit of grief, her behavior at school was a little troublesome. She clashed with other students and teachers, and Sam said it was really hard to parent her for a while. While living with her mother, in multiple acts of rebellion, Jayden ran away from home. She would be out of touch for a short time and then would always call and come back home.
I can see why her mom found it challenging to parent her.
Now, Sam did say as Jayden got a little older, she started to turn things around. She was still rebellious, but she had a lot of love in her heart, and they were on their way to mending their relationship. Despite their positive trajectory, they still had their ups and downs. And in November of 2013, when Jayden was 17, things came to a head and Jayden had decided to leave home. She ended up staying with other family members for a bit, but ultimately found refuge in a hostel named One Foot Forward. They provided accommodation for young people from the age of 16 to 25 that had become homeless. This seemed to give Jayden a feeling of independence and responsibility. And since moving into the hostel, Jayden and her mother's relationship was warming back up.
Well, yeah, I mean, she's getting everything that she really wanted when living with her mom in a different place, right?
Yeah,
so
freedom.
It kind of opens up the possibility to have a relationship with her mom because the tension is gone.
Yes, it is.
So I get that.
Now, not long after Jayden had moved out of her mother's house and was staying in the hostel, she actually found out she was pregnant with her ex-boyfriend, Ben Blakeley's child. When Jayden first met Ben, she was only 15 years old, and he was 20. She had met Ben through one of her friends named Jake. Ben was his older brother. Jayden and Ben really connected and eventually started dating a little while after Jayden had turned 16. At the time, Jayden was having lots of family problems, and Ben gave her just what she needed, lots of love and affection. But rather quickly, their relationship took a different course. Ben was drinking and doing drugs all the time, and he just had a really vile attitude, and it was towards everyone. Ben was becoming more controlling and manipulative towards Jayden day by day. Everyone started noticing the shift in Jayden. She had become more isolated from the people she loved and seemed a bit more depressed. Some of Jayden's friends had remembered seeing bruises on her. They believed that Ben was physically abusing her.
I wouldn't be surprised. Their relationship has all the telltale signs of physical abuse, to be honest.
It really does.
And it's also just really unfortunate because there's such an age gap between the two. She's a minor. He's 5 years older than her. So I would think there would be a power imbalance by the age alone, let alone like physical stature or anything like that. Right?
Oh, for sure.
So yeah, I think it has all the markings of a relationship that could become abusive. And then it does. And it's sad.
Absolutely. Now, their relationship was really tumultuous. They had broken up several times. And even when they were broken up, Ben had control over Jayden. Sometimes she wouldn't even leave her room at the hostel to go to the bathroom. She would just use bottles instead.
What?
Can
That
you
is wild.
Yeah, like, can you imagine being so fearful of someone?
That even when they're not around,
You do what they say.
that's fucked up.
Mm-hmm. And she's so young and impressionable.
Yeah.
Like, oof. Like I said, she was scared, and she was scared of what he would do to her. And at one point, Jayden confided in a friend about some burn marks that she had on her breast. She admitted that they had come from Ben.
Wow. What the fuck was he doing?
Nothing good, that's for damn sure.
True that.
Now, in late November, Jayden had called her mom. She had some big news. She told her mom she was pregnant with Ben's baby, and she was going to keep it. Her mom was shocked, to say the least, and was a little disappointed. As we know, teen and younger pregnancy, it creates a different set of complications as you move forward in your life.
Yes, definitely. And now, like, when you have a child with someone who is abusing you, you are connected to them
No matter what.
no matter what. I mean, I'm sure you could find separation, but there's just like a whole other loopholes you have to jump through legally.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And so I think it's definitely a tough road to go down.
Oh, for sure. And Jayden's mom knew this was going to be challenging and that there was going to be some major hurdles for her.
Right.
But Jayden was pretty insistent that she keeps this baby. She
Yeah.
was really excited about it.
I could see that.
Yeah. Her mom also knew that no matter what, she would be there to help her daughter.
That's sweet.
Yeah. Now, Jayden and her mom had made plans on December 3rd, 2013 to meet up and kind of set up a plan for her pregnancy to help her be successful. And later that day, she was also supposed to meet up with Ben to make plans for their baby.
So it was like a baby planning day.
Yeah, let's sort it all out and move on. The following day on December 4th, Jayden's mom and staff at the hostel started to become a little worried because Jayden didn't return to her room and they actually reported her missing.
Wow. So there was this after she had met with her mom?
After she met with her mom and met with Ben.
Okay, now she's MIA.
The following day. Even though, as we know, it wasn't uncommon for Jayden to run away.
Right.
But what was uncommon was for her to not be in contact with anyone.
And she wasn't in this instance.
And she wasn't. They were also concerned because she had no reason to run away and be MIA.
Yeah.
Like, she hadn't fought with anyone.
She was in a good place with her mom.
Yeah.
She was having a baby. She
Yeah.
would need support.
For sure.
So it's weird. It's not like, oh, me and my mom are fighting. I'm going to run away, which was her MO before.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's just like there's no real motive for her to need to run away or want to.
Exactly. Now, when the investigators hear that she's missing, they actually go and speak with the hostel staff to get more information right away. They want to act on this. And this is when the staff told investigators that Jayden recently found out she was pregnant, as we know, and it was her ex's baby, who he was, and that she was meeting up with him on the 3rd.
So Ben is probably someone they really need to talk to at this point.
Oh, yes, he is
Right?
number one.
Yeah.
And on top of that, what made detectives want to speak to Ben even more was the staff at the hostel said that when Jayden told Ben initially about her pregnancy, he didn't want to have anything to do with it.
Yikes.
He had suspected Jayden of having another boyfriend or having sexual relations with another man.
Basically, like, that baby ain't mine.
Yeah, like, no effing way.
Wow.
But Jayden was pretty secure in that. He had also, in that same conversation, threatened Jayden that he would throw her off a bridge.
I'm sorry, what the fudge?
I mean, that sounds kind of ridiculous, like, I'm going to throw you off a bridge.
But it's mostly like, I get what he's saying, like, if you don't get rid of this baby, like, I'll kick you in the stomach. It's like a similar
Like
type
threat.
of threat.
Yeah, exactly. So this, caught investigators' attention and, he sounded a little violent. Need to talk to him.
Yeah, and like throwing someone off a bridge obviously can result in death. So, I mean, he's not only threatening the baby inside her, but her in general. And now she's missing. Like, yeah, go talk to Ben.
Yeah, let's talk to the person
He's
that
got some
threatened her
screws
life.
loose. So,
nutty.
yeah.
Go speak with that man. Now, before the investigators talked to Ben, they wanted to know a little bit more about his and Jayden's relationship. So they kind of probed the staff to get more information, and they told him they'd been dating on and off for 9 months, and Ben was very aggressive towards Jayden. The staff had personally heard conversations where he was volatile towards her on the phone, and they were consistently pretty worried about her well-being, which is sad.
That is sad, honestly, to be hearing that and like not be able to do anything about it and then have this situation arise where she's now missing. It's definitely sad. I'm sure they're put in a position where they wish they could have done more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, I agree.
Obviously, they cared for her
Yeah.
and are concerned for her at this point.
Exactly. So detectives try calling Ben. They're not at a point where it's like they don't even know that anything's happened to Jayden.
Yeah.
So it's not like they can arrest him for anything or why bother bringing him into the station. So they call him on the telly. And they tried talking to him several times, but every time Ben just said he didn't know where Jayden was and he would like hang up on the detectives. He was so unhelpful. You would think if you recently broke up with someone and then they went missing, you would be like, let me tell you everything. Like, I probably still have some love for them.
And she's pregnant with his child.
Yeah,
like,
he's just basically like a big old fuck you. I'm not talking to you. I don't have anything to say.
that's right. He's like, fuck the police.
Yeah, I'm not helping you. As detectives would quickly find out, there was a reason why Ben was avoiding the police. And that was because just a couple days before Jayden was reported missing, she had gone to the police to report Ben. Ben had collected about 30 naked photos of Jayden and a handful of private videos, all of which he had taken without her consent, and he was threatening to put them on social media. This caused Jayden a lot of torment, and so she went to the police to report it.
Wow, what a dickhead, honestly.
What a dickhead, you're right.
Like, that's messed up. Like, he's obviously, like, threatening to put them on social media. Just, I would at least assume that he's doing that to in some way get his way. Because why else?
Yeah, like, the only other reason would literally just to be a dick. Just to be mean and embarrass her.
Yeah, exactly. But that's just messed up.
Yeah, like, I do wonder, did it have to do with the baby?
That's what I'm thinking, right? Like, he's trying to get his way, like, abort the baby, or I will ruin you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, we are just assuming that was one of his thoughts.
Totally.
But if we put ourselves in his shoes and his
abusive mindset,
that's probably what I'd be thinking, yeah.
Yeah. It's messed up, though. That's so sad. So she's trying to address this issue by reporting it.
Exactly. So now is he mad at her?
Mm.
Could he have contributed to her being missing? We'll find out. But in a funny turn of events, on December 4th, Ben was actually apprehended for making those photos and keeping them, and he was brought in and questioned by the police.
Yeah, I mean, that's not just like a nothing burger.
It isn't.
Right? That's something serious, and the police are going to take that seriously.
Exactly.
And it's a great way for them to question him, right?
Well, it would have been. However, the police that brought him in on the force had no knowledge of what was going on with Jayden and how she was missing. So when they questioned him, it was purely about these photos and videos.
Right. Yeah. That makes sense. And that sucks, though.
I mean, they had a really great opportunity, right?
Yeah, totally. Especially since he's been hanging up on the police.
And what sucks even more is that he denied everything. And so at that point, all they had was Jayden's word to go on. But she was missing, so they couldn't even reach out to her again.
Right. That is so shitty.
Yeah. So the investigators are at a standstill in both investigations.
Right.
Ben is completely denying everything from both ends. And now Jayden is missing and they can't even follow up with her in regards to like the photos and videos, stuff like that.
And they have no idea whether she's hurt, missing, voluntarily ran away,
Exactly.
etc.
There's a lot of things up in the air and they need to get some answers. So in order to do that, they go searching for CCTV footage. And what they find is that Jayden left the hostel to go meet up with Ben. They met up in Oxford and they have them on CCTV camera at the train station. They see them both get on the train and head towards Parkway in Didcot. There they see them both on camera, and this is the last known sighting of Jayden.
So Ben was the last person known to be with her.
Exactly. Now, because they had no other outlets to go through, the police went public with this information. But it seemed to be quiet in the news, and it didn't get much recognition. The family believed it was because of Jayden's runaway history, and everyone assumed she would be walking through the door at any minute. Now, as more CCTV footage was analyzed, they eventually find footage from the train station at Parkway from December 3rd around 10 p.m. And they see Ben returning to that station alone. Jayden was nowhere in sight. And because of this, they are starting to think that maybe he did do something to Jayden.
Right.
And they bring him in for questioning.
Right. They left the train station together and only one returned.
Exactly.
Like, for what reason?
When they bring Ben in for questioning, they tell him this is all in relation to his missing ex-girlfriend, Jayden Parkinson. What he says to investigators was, "I'll be honest with you. I don't give a shit where she is. I don't care where she is. If she's got a new boyfriend, he can fucking deal with her. She's nothing to do with me now." Ben was absolutely appalled that they were even questioning him at that point. His attitude really sounded shitty.
Holy fudge, Becky.
Exactly. He then told the detectives that if they wanted to find her, go trace her through Facebook. And then he stopped talking to them. He was very unhelpful again.
I'm like shocked at his response.
Mm-hmm.
Like, speaking about her like she was nothing.
Yeah.
Like, I don't give a fuck where she is, what she's doing. Other people can fucking deal with that nuisance. Like, what the hell?
But on the flip side, is he just her jilted ex-lover? Like, is he hurt that maybe she found someone new?
No, that's just like someone with no common decency to them at all. I'm sorry.
No, I actually agree. I'm just playing devil's advocate.
I totally hear you because I get that's what you're doing, but I can't even play along and be like, yeah, maybe. Because no, like, anyone with any form of decency would not speak about somebody that way. They'd be concerned as to their whereabouts. At the very least, to their well-being.
At the very least.
Like, come on.
Yeah.
You can't hate someone that much that you just don't give a fuck about the fact that they are nowhere to be found. Like, that's crazy.
I know. It's, as I said, appalling.
Yes.
Now, detectives weren't done asking him questions, and when asked if Jayden had told him about the baby, he said she did, but he kind of implied that he didn't really believe her due to this other man he claims that maybe she had relations with.
Right, which we know.
Yeah. And when asked about threatening her, like throw her off the bridge, stuff like that, he asked in the cockiest attitude, "Where are you getting this information from?" Like, he looked at them like they were the stupidest people on earth. I've never seen someone be so arrogant when being questioned about someone close to them missing. It was at that point he outright refused to talk with the police any further. And because they had no concrete evidence that anything was even wrong, they had to let him go and he went on his way. Now, a couple days later, by December 11th, police had no new leads, and they were becoming more and more concerned for Jayden's well-being. They thought serious harm had come to her, maybe. Jayden's mom, Sam, was tormented because she had a gut-wrenching feeling her daughter was dead. She said it's a completely unexplainable feeling. You just get it. So with no new leads and concern in their hearts, detectives decide to make the bold decision or move to arrest Ben with murder. They had only 36 hours to prove that something terrible had happened to Jayden and that Ben had something to do with it, or he would be released. They got search warrants for Ben's phone, his residence. They got search parties together to find Jayden and or evidence. Deep down, they were still hoping that Jayden was alive, but it wasn't looking good.
This is a pretty, this move by the investigators is pretty intense. They must have had really like strong feelings towards his guilt, because otherwise, why the hell would you risk it? You know what I mean?
Oh, for sure. I mean, worst case scenario, you try to find something on him that's valuable because you feel that he did it, and you come up with nothing. He's then released.
Right.
It's not like you can't arrest him again.
But then you give him the opportunity to flee. You know, you give him the opportunity to realize he's under suspicion and maybe do something
about it.
So, I mean, it's a risky move either way.
Exactly.
But I think they assume that with his arrest, they could probably get the search warrants. I wonder if that's the case. Like, arresting him would give them reason to be able to get search warrants, if that makes sense. We believe he's guilty of murder. We have arrested him. We need search warrants to gain evidence. Because otherwise, don't you have to have some form of evidence to have search warrants in the first place? Or am I crazy to think that?
Yeah, you ultimately need like probable cause to get them, right? And me personally, I think just the video, I mean, I'm no detective or judge, but I think the video alone would, if I was a judge, saw that, I'd be like, yeah, you can have whatever search warrant you want.
Yeah, but then like, why wouldn't they have done that just to gain evidence in the meantime?
Yeah.
Maybe to have him under custody so he couldn't do anything.
Maybe,
or try and like destroy evidence.
Or silence anyone.
Yeah.
Who knows?
So either way, I just think it's a bold move, and I'm
damn bold.
I'm living for it, man.
It's damn bold like my coffee.
Damn bold like your coffee. Whoa. Ain't that the truth?
Yes. And when they arrested Ben Bev, they also used this as like a tool. They were able to tell the media who they arrested. So again, also bold because they're putting a name out there.
Right.
Without having major evidence. But they told the media that Ben Blakeley was arrested under suspicion of murder. This brought out a bunch of new information. A cab driver came forward and said that he had picked up a man late in the evening in a remote part of Didcot. The man had a large blue suitcase. The taxi driver said the suitcase was so heavy he had to help the man lift it into the cab. And the man told the taxi driver that his girlfriend had just thrown him out and he had all his worldly possessions in this one suitcase.
Thus making it super heavy.
Exactly. Because he had all the things.
But it's also kind of wild because weren't Ben and Jayden last seen in Didcot?
Damn straight they were. Ooh, yeah.
And my own sleuthing of true crime, people often put bodies in suitcases. I'm just saying.
They fucking do. Like, I truly wonder, have we ever walked past someone with a body in their suitcase? Do you know how many suitcases we've walked by in our whole life? So many.
You never know.
There's a very small chance that we have walked past a dead body there.
Well, this taxi driver...
He sure did.
Well, we're assuming, obviously, but...
Yeah. Well, the taxi driver, when he heard of the missing girl, and then when Ben was arrested, when he heard that on the news...
And saw his face,
he kind of put two and two together and was like, oh, shit.
That wasn't all of his worldly possessions in that suitcase.
Yeah. So he, like I said, told the detectives that he did this.
It looks like their tactics, the investigators' tactics, are playing in their favor.
Yeah, it sure is. Now, after the tip from the taxi driver, the police were able to determine that it was Ben's cell phone that had made the call to the taxi company. They were also able to determine Ben's cell phone was in a few different locations in Didcot around that time, and that he had made a bunch of different phone calls that night. Now, one of the locations that his phone signaled to became pretty significant to detectives. It was a place called Spooky Barn. It was an old rundown barn where local teens and young adults would go to party. They'd go drink, do their drugs, just have a really fun time, you know? Like, what's better than an old dilapidated barn for having fun as a teen? Nothing is better.
I mean, yes, that's actually rather true.
Yes. Now, this was a location that Ben and Jayden had been before and had gone there together.
Right. No, that makes sense. We also know that Ben was into the drugs and the liquor. And if it's a place where people went to party, I mean, it would make sense that he had been there before.
Exactly. And on top of that, was probably an easy place to lure Jayden to if they had gone there before, because it was familiar. She probably felt safe, right?
Totally.
So it's on their radar. And they actually go and search the spooky barn. And in the bushes around it, they found a bracelet that Jayden was known to wear. It also had her hostel room key on it.
Oh, no.
They brought in cadaver dogs, and they ended up hitting on the barn itself, like inside, as well as near the bracelet. As soon as the dogs hit on those spots, they knew that most likely Jayden had been murdered there. Because why else would a cadaver dog hit on a spot?
And why else would a bracelet that she often wore on her wrist be, like, strewn about, you know?
Well, exactly. Especially with her little house key.
Yeah, exactly.
You need that to
You
get in your room.
Absolutely. Very ominous findings there.
Mm-hmm. So, it's worked so well this last time, the police again appeal to the public. And they ask if anyone had seen a man with a suitcase in the late hours of December 3rd in the general Oxford and Didcot area. And a woman came forward. She said that Jake Blakeley, who, remember, is Ben's younger brother who introduced Jayden and Ben, had been living with her at the time and had been trying to get rid of a bunch of muddy clothing. She found this very suspicious and let the police know. They then go and arrest Jake under the suspicion of murder and bring him in for questioning.
Which I would have to say is also a decent technique in terms of, like, threatening someone's life, like going to prison for the rest of your life. You're under suspicion of murder just to get them to, spill the fucking beans.
Yeah, get a little information.
This was not me. Oh, hell no, I won't go down for this shit.
Yeah, right? Scare him into submission here.
It was my brother.
Yes. Now, one of the other interesting things as to why they brought his brother in is because one of the phone calls that Ben had made on December 3rd was to his brother Jake. Throughout their conversation with Jake, they learned that Jake and Ben's grandparents lived near the spooky barn. So they head on over because what are the chances, right? She goes missing at the spooky barn. They live pretty close. Surely they must have some information.
Yeah.
So when they go and knock on their grandparents' door, their grandmother opens the door, and before they say anything, she asks if they were here to collect the suitcase.
No.
Like, jaw dropped. They're like,
Sorry, what?
Say that one more time.
Excuse me, ma'am?
It's like, but yes, if you have
But, like,
it.
actually, that would be very valuable to us and is largely the reason we are here.
Yes.
How
How did you know? How did you know?
Oh my God.
Yes.
Why would the grandma say that, though?
Well, I assume she saw the news and the suitcase and was probably like, oh shit, my grandson borrowed that.
Oh my God. That's so fucking crazy.
Mm-hmm. So the police collect the suitcase as well as 2 shovels. So this Didcot area, Bev, it is pretty rural. There's a lot of open fields, open space. And detectives start to think that surely he's probably buried her here somewhere. Otherwise, why can't they find her body? Why did the cadaver dog not follow a longer scent trail? Stuff like that. So they need to find a way to narrow down where they're going to search in all this rural area. They decided to have a plane fly over to see if they were able to find any dig sites or suspicious areas to search first.
Yeah, like where the ground had been, like, unearthed or tampered with.
Exactly. And they actually came up with 10 different areas to start with. At this point, police and detectives, they feel that they're pretty confident that they're on the right track and that they're onto something important. They crossed their fingers that they would find Jayden's body. They felt, though, at that time that there was enough circumstantial evidence to charge Ben with her murder officially. And they formally laid those charges on December 15th. The following day, on December 16th, they charged Jake Barkley with perverting the course of justice.
By not saying anything. Or by helping, like, get rid of evidence or what?
Yeah, by helping him dig. Why was he covered in mud, right?
Holy shit.
Yeah.
That's sad, actually. I don't enjoy that.
No. Could you imagine if I out of nowhere just call you and say, hey, Bev, I need help burying a body. You want to come help me? And don't fucking say anything. Yeah, Becky, I'll be on my way. No big deal.
Okay, maybe he's, like, maybe fine. Yeah, maybe,
his brother just got him in so much trouble.
His brother just got him in so much trouble. I mean, like, the question is, why did he do it?
Why?
But also,
was he also scared of his brother?
It's just, yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, he obviously helped him with something and said nothing.
Yes, exactly.
And intended to say nothing for a long time.
Yeah, and that's why he's arrested. On the plus side, the police had zero evidence to suggest that Jake helped kill Jayden.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, no, totally. I would I would also think he probably didn't,
Mm-hmm.
to be honest.
Yeah. So, as I said, the police felt that they had enough circumstantial evidence to arrest Ben. However, the prosecution didn't feel quite the same way. They felt that they didn't have a strong enough case to go to trial with. So they said they needed Jayden's body. And the prosecution gave police 7 days to find her body, or both men would be released until further evidence was produced.
That makes a lot of sense. Like, you still don't necessarily have evidence that a murder took place. So you can't necessarily charge somebody with that unless
You're for sure.
someone did die, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Fortunately, when Jake was arrested and charged, he gave the investigators a handwritten note explaining where he believed Jayden was. He said his brother buried Jayden at the All Saints churchyard in Didcot. She was buried in their Uncle Alan's grave. This just so happened to be one of the 10 areas that was starred by the air search. This area had been deemed valuable, but it was at the end of their list because it was a graveyard. It wasn't uncommon for an area to have been dug up.
Excellent. So if this is in fact true, then Jake has just helped them significantly narrow down their search because they don't have a lot of time to, be digging up 10 search areas. So I don't know, it just expedites the process.
Oh, it definitely does. And, they take him seriously and they head right on over to that church and they excavate their Uncle Alan's gravesite in the cemetery. And they end up finding a young female's body.
Wow.
When they did the autopsy, they noticed right away that the female had extreme bruising around both eyes and on the side of her head. It was clear she had been beaten. She also had finger marks around her neck and throat, implying that she had been strangled. On December 20th, 2013, Jayden's mother identified this exhumed body as her 17-year-old daughter, and Ben and Jake remained in custody. Now, leading up to the trial, Ben had written a letter and given it to the prison chaplain. It was a little confession. It explained he had been involved in Jayden's death. He said he had gotten in an altercation with her in a field near the spooky barn. He put his hands around her throat, and then somehow she had fallen off a bridge nearby. He said he did not mean for her to die. He also said he tried to revive her, but there was no hope. He said he was sorry and that he just didn't mean to kill her and that he loved her.
Wow. I call bullshit. I think it's a convenient confession to alleviate his guilt.
Yeah, make it seem like an accident happened.
Yeah, you had your hands around her throat and you even somehow threw in that she fell off a bridge when you had threatened her with that very thing.
Yeah.
That is
WTF.
It sits too close to home for it to be a completely accurate depiction of what happened,
Yeah. And also, I was about to say, how do you accidentally fall off a bridge? But I'm sure people have done it.
Oh, I'm sure, yeah.
But in this circumstance, you're telling me you were just choking her for the sake of choking her, and then she fell off a bridge and died?
Yeah, bullshit.
No fucking way.
No fucking way. I'll be interested to hear her manner of death, Rebecca, so we can actually know if it was the bridge or was it his hands.
Now, before we get into that, I have to say the investigators read this note, Bev, and they felt that Ben was severely underplaying his role in this crime.
Yep.
And just like you, they don't really believe that he's telling the whole truth. Based on the evidence, they think Jayden went to the spooky barn with Ben because it was familiar, as we said.
Mm-hmm.
She would have felt a level of security there. Then when she told him she wanted to keep their baby, Ben lost his temper. He beat and strangled her there in the barn.
Yep.
Then he dragged her lifeless body, called his brother to help him, bury Jayden in a shallow grave. He then returned a little while later to the gravesite with a suitcase he got from his grandparents' house. He then dug her up, put her in the suitcase, took the taxi to the cemetery, and buried her in his Uncle Alan's grave so that it would be a little bit
more hidden. Yeah, they wouldn't suspect to look in a grave of an already dead person.
Yes. Why would there be an extra body?
Yeah.
On June 23rd, 2014, the trial commenced, and the show that went on was like no other. It was disgusting, Bev. Ben and Jake were constantly joking around, laughing, not taking this seriously. On top of that, Ben had several outbursts in the court where he would yell and swear at the judge, and he threatened to stab the barrister. which, if anyone doesn't know, it's a person who wears the wig and gown. And he was removed multiple times for his aggressive outbursts, and he was taken back to the holding cell.
Wow.
So he was a menace. He was a menace in court.
And he's so dumb. Like, come on now.
Like, if you wanted...
You are telling me that you are accused of murder, and you are out of just pure stupidity going to threaten someone in the courtroom, an official in the courtroom, for the very thing you're accused of? Like, I'm gonna stab you. Like, if the jury didn't already think that you were guilty, they sure as shit do now.
Yeah, they're definitely going to see you as someone who's capable of maybe killing someone if you're just annoyed.
Or that would resort to that.
Yeah.
If annoyed. Not just capable, but like, that's your go-to, man.
Like, okay, yeah, that's how we solve problems. Cool.
Like, do you not have any, I don't know, just like foresight to think maybe that could
impact their decision?
Like, what?
I know, wild, right?
Yeah.
But it does show just like how much like he does not give a shit.
True.
Not even about Jayden, just about people, about, you know, and also how impulsive he is.
Yeah, he's so impulsive, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Now, what I find absolutely hilarious, because it's stupid, is that Ben's defense argued that he had strangled previous girlfriends who ended up testifying to this, and none of them had died. So surely Jayden could not have died at the literal hands of Ben. And so it must have been an accident.
Yeah, like, you guys, he knows his limits. Like, he knows when to stop strangling women.
Yeah.
In order for them to not die.
So surely.
As if those situations were the same. Like, she's also pregnant. Like, he's made it very clear he doesn't want to have a child. Like, the situations are very different, right?
For sure.
He could feel more threatened by the situation he's in with Jayden than any of his previous girlfriends.
Yeah, she had gone to the police about the photos. Like,
yeah, so
he had many, like, stronger factors.
So I don't know, it always makes me kind of giggle at defense's arguments when they have someone who's clearly guilty of a very heinous crime. Yes. And they are like, we don't have much to go off of, dude.
Yeah, just like last week, right?
They're
like,
doing their best, but like,
it's still
they don't got much.
Yeah, don't have anything.
Yeah, that's silly.
Now, after a 4-week trial, the jury was sent off for deliberations. When they came back on July 24th, 2014, they found Ben guilty of the murder of Jayden Parkinson. He was sentenced to life in prison with a minimum of 20 years. He will be eligible for parole in 2034. And Jayden's family believed the sentence was far too mild.
As they should. They lost their daughter and their future grandchild.
For sure. And like, even if he only stays in 20 years, it's not like he'll still be young. He'll still be able to live a bunch of his life out, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And I agree. It's too mild. And just hopefully his like poor behavior carried on in prison, and the parole board will be like, ugh. No thanks. You can stay here. It's better for everyone.
Yeah, or they'll consider that he technically took 2 lives. And like, you know, that there's just no hope for him.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely could see how that would be concerning. He's shown a pattern of aggression towards women and ended in the loss of 2 lives. And so it's pretty messed up to think that he could ever walk the streets of the world again. Hey?
Ever again.
Yeah, like,
it is.
Yeah.
Now, Ben's brother, Jake, pled guilty to perverting the course of justice. He gave a statement saying he was only there to help bury the body, but he had nothing to do with the death. And for this, he was sentenced to 3.5 years in prison. He was found not guilty of any other offense. So they felt confident that he was just like that accessory to his brother.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and he should at least be held accountable for that. Hey, I know you didn't mention it, but I'm curious to know if you are aware of her manner of death. Was it strangulation?
Yes, that is how she died.
So on top of him already have been found guilty by the jury and spending his life in prison, he's also just a confirmed bullshitter in terms of the note he wrote. Like, yeah, she didn't jump off a bridge. Nothing like that happened. She didn't fall off of it. You are wild to even say that. She died
by your hands.
By your hands.
Yes, exactly. He is a liar too. He can't even like fully admit to it. And you know how they always say, like, if you have addiction, the first step is like admitting it.
Yeah.
I feel like in order to ever be considered to be like reintegrated and back to society, first step, admitting it.
Acknowledging your role.
Yes.
And don't downplay that shit.
Exactly. And if he doesn't do that, I don't see how they'll let him out.
No, absolutely
It'd be
not.
crazy too.
They would be.
Now, Bev, what makes this case so tragic is that Jayden was making decisions in her life to move forward. She had gotten out of her abusive relationship, and even though her new life would have some challenges ahead with a new baby, she was excited for her pregnancy. She found a place that would help her with housing and getting back to school after her baby, and she had chosen to study hairdressing.
She was obviously very resilient and capable of making healthy choices despite some pretty grave circumstances. And I think that's commendable and amazing. You know, the world was her oyster, and it's devastating that she didn't get the chance to explore it.
Absolutely.
So, fuck you, Ben, and our hearts and prayers go out to her family, who undoubtedly will most likely grieve her loss for the rest of their lives.
Yes, our hearts do go out to them. Well, Bev, that's all I have for you today. This is the case of Jayden Parkinson. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for sharing. And just your weekly reminder to download our weekly episodes, follow us on Spotify or Apple Music or whatever streaming platform you listen to us on, and give us a follow on our social medias. You can find us at Luminol on the Wall. Can't wait till next week.